Northeast Gold. Hello, Harry. I have uploaded my genetic data to Live Willow, and most interesting report was that choline, the suggestion I'm at risk of a deficiency, the report states. Yep, yeah, some people, I've got that same genetic predisposition. And so if you're not getting enough in your diet, it's always a good idea to supplement. Also, if you're exposed to a lot of, see, on a carnivore diet, we do need a bit more choline. And generally people need a choline deficient, a lot of the population anyway. And the reason for that is because we don't live, take a look at a Maasai. That person lives in it beyond any issue with maybe a lion, maybe a sort of, the life isn't, terribly stressful or terribly toxic around them. They're not exposed to fluoride. They're not exposed to mold. They're not exposed to other environmental toxins and chemicals and, you name it, that we are just walking through. I mean, even the brake, your brake pads, something like a large proportion of the atmospheric pollutants in a city are coming from these brake pads. There's chemicals in that and other hydrocarbons that are basically, are being turned into very fine particles, and that actually flows through and you're actually ingesting that. So there's a lot of things in our environment that we're ingesting, which has a toxic effect. And so it will stress your detox pathways far more. And depending on whether your detoxification pathways and genetics as well are here, or, whatever they are, and the rate that they can actually detox, you can also have, deranged gut microbiome, which you're actually recycling back some of that waste. I'll actually explain. There's a video that I'm going to be making and it'll cover that. Because of Dad's situation, I haven't had the time to do the gut issue and some of the others. I have done the recent histamine one. That was an old one that I'd promised ages ago and never got around doing it. And that was to give a comprehensive type picture on that, that regard. Yeah, probably the only things that I probably didn't cover were some of the micronutrients additional to I only covered the vitamin D. There is retinol plays a role there, and also some of the other nutrients but they're in the animal food. So if you're eating an animal food based diet, a carnivore diet, usually get those. So I didn't see it as important to basically mention them, in that regard. But vitamin D is one of those things that people are more susceptible on in the modern world on most diets, because of too much indoor living compared to the past. So there's all those sort of things. But yeah, I would, you've got to be very careful with a lot of these sites, the way they interpret things, because, they may say things like, oh, well, you don't have this. So, you need this plant. And they'll always be pushing the plant narrative or the supplement narrative, when a lot of these compounds are much higher in animal foods and not in some way inhibited. Like there's a whole lot of inhibitory factors in plant foods and you can't get access to them anyway. So it's nonsense. But, it's still, the propaganda still there. They may point out these things. And remember, your genes are not your destiny. So if you have a choline deficient diet, obviously, then you're going to have worse outcomes in terms of methylation compared to someone else. But if you're got a choline sufficient diet, and it's very easy. I mean, you have a couple of eggs and eat a good big steak, pretty easy without even any supplementation. I have done a whole lot of choline videos. If you Google choline and my name, you'll find a lot of information, or food sources and all sorts of things. Eggs are one of the easiest ones to get into your system in terms of getting quite a bit of that. But also, choline is very important for kids with sort of issues like autism and stuff like that. it improves the outcomes. Taurine does as well. So all those sort of things. People are starting to pick up on some of this. I've left a lot of things around on blogs, which have to do with a lot of these neurological things, and people are starting to tap into. I've noticed that some sites now are talking more about taurine and choline in terms of kids with autism. So the message is getting out there. I keep on putting things on blogs. Some of the actual haters delete my comments because they are arse hats. Say no more, because they'd rather medicate the kids than actually get the good message out. But anyway, we just have to persevere. That's pretty much it in that regard. And if you take a look at the level of women that have kids with some of these issues, they tend to have some of the lowest choline, vitamin D, and sort of taurine levels in their system. Tells you a lot. Remember, taurine is required for new brain cells. Kids don't get, that's why mother's milk gives you a lot of it to develop a big brain. So you're not getting enough, breastfeeding enough on the tit as a youngster, you're not going to get a big enough brain. Yes, that's another problem in our modern world. Yes.